Everybody, it's Chad with Nobody Else's Auto. It is 7 o'clock Sunday night, time for Sunday evening live chat. We are live on Facebook and YouTube, so we'll give everybody a few seconds to get. It is midday Monday in Australia, which has got to be way better than being Sunday evening in Kansas, because when I came to that back to the shop a little bit ago, it was -2. So Rico and Jess are on with us. Illinois is on with us. So as always, questions, comments, be sure to throw them up there. We'll sure try to catch them as we go. I do miss a few occasionally when we get really busy, but I always try to catch as many of them as possible. So, got my good friend Bill on from Wichita. Glenn from Minnesota's on. Thanks for being back, Glenn. You're a regular with us. Always good to see you back. Omar from Canada. I got my good friend Robert on. Dan from Defiance is on. Edward's on. Edward's got internet issues due to the storm. I hope that's not on my end. Calm down here. Just super cold. The wind has died down. That's not really snowing anymore. Just super, super cold right now. So hopefully we don't have any connection issues on my end. But we'll see what happens. Ironhead Garage is on with us from Washington. Thanks for being back. Camera angle's a little different tonight. You may have noticed I reset my camera, so I hope it's for the better for you guys and helps me see things a little bit better too. So Kevin in Texas just jumped on with us. Thanks for being here. So anyway, as always, I'm still amazed you guys keep coming back. But hey, we're having fun. And you keep coming back by, and we keep having a great chat. So I'm glad that you do, because you are the ones that make this thing happen. Anyway, Jerry from New Mexico's on with us. Great, got a great group jumping on with us right out of the gate tonight. So that's always good too. Corky's on with us, and it's 3 above there. He's got us beat. Let's see. Edward, Edward got a full snowstorm on, so hopefully the connection issue is on your end, not because you got bad weather, but so that I don't have problems with the feed for everybody else. I got William on with us. Thanks for being here. Yeah, Jess already spotted the sign behind me. That is a really cool sign that I was pretty excited about. Sinclair can rack topper sign with all the different types of dyno cans they had available at that time. I think it was 60s. It is a metal painted sign, one-sided off the top of a can rack. So really cool piece. What else we got? We got lots of stuff popping up. Chris from Nebraska. Nebraska's north of here. So you got to be on with us. Thanks for being here, John. Adam's on. Adam Spitfire, I believe. You are England watcher, I think. Kendall from Illinois. No true power wagons, Kendall. I don't have any of the actual old true power wagons except for one chassis. I've got one chassis left out of about a 48, and I do not have any Plymouth pickups at all right now. Kevin's on with us. Thanks for being here, Kevin. Ethan, the swap meet in Hutchinson, Kansas is May 21st and 22nd. We talked about that last week when we found out that the Wichita swap meet had gotten canceled. So May 21st and 22nd for everybody on the Hutchinson, Kansas swap meet, if you want to note that down for their first round. Let's see, Drew on the 56 F600. Give me a call on that after we get done. And we can talk about it. That should probably end right after we get off if it didn't already end. Yes, Adam from England. He is our watcher from England. And I think it's about 1 or 2 in the morning in England, and we already know it's midday Monday in Australia. So we got a pretty good span tonight. That's always great. Ralph of South Dakota's on. Kevin jumped on with us from Houston, and they are iced over in Houston. Wow, that's getting quite a ways south to be iced over. But anyway. Let's see. Looks like we're caught up on the first batch of comments. Let's see. Oh, Demas is on with us. Great. Glad Demas is back on with us. I know you're one of our regulars. Glad to see you back. But my buddy Mike Spanhoward's on. Out here helping the neighbors with calving. Wow. That would be a challenge right now if you're having calves. Debbie from Texas is on. My buddy Robert, any updates on the Lawrence swap meet? I've done some looking on the Lawrence swap meet, and I cannot find any fat on Lawrence swap meet. The AACA region in Lawrence, Kansas, puts on a swap meet every May, and every year I look and look and look on the internet trying to find some information on that swap meet, and they just don't put that info out there, and it's very difficult. And I have not found anything as of yet on the Lawrence swap meet, which is typically the first weekend in May in Lawrence, Kansas. 66, 67 Dodge Coronets. I've got 166 Coronet two-door hardtop bodies, all I've got. I can't let you go just wander around, Josh. I don't have insurance to let you go wander. I can take you back to show you what you want to look at is about all I can do. And like we talked about, the possibility of tours is still out there. It's just my lawyer hasn't got anything done on it. He's had some other stuff he's been working on for me. 66 Dart front clip, nothing there. Packard straight eights, Lance. It depends on what you mean by Packard straight eight. That's a pretty broad topic. Yes, I do have some Packards with straight eights in them. Just depends on which ones we're talking about. Denmark's on. Matthias. I'm sure I butchered that, and I apologize, but we've got Denmark on with us. So all across the U.S., Denmark, Australia, and England tonight. James from Texas, one of our regulars, and it is snowing in Waverly, Texas. So Mike and Georgia's on. Scott says that there is a swap meet in Denver on June 12th. So June 12th and 13th, there's the tri-state swap meet in Denver is still scheduled at this point. 36 Dodge pickup windshield frame, Michael. Nothing on that at all. Let's see. I think that catches up. 74 Duster fender. I've got a 75 and a 76 Duster. I do not have any 74s. If one of those will interchange, there's a possibility that one of those may still be good. So anyway, it looks like we're caught up for the time being, so we'll go ahead and start on my stuff that I had noted down for tonight. And as always, I'll try to keep an eye on comments. They kind of came in pretty fast and furious there for a second. Chris, thanks for the kind words. We appreciate you being here. Much less, what I'm doing is just my thing here. You guys coming back and hanging out are what's making this all work. Let's see. Gary from London, is the Daytona 500 running yet? I don't know. I did not even turn it on today. So I don't know if the Daytona, I would assume the Daytona 500 is probably over by now. But I do not know because I did not have it on. But anyway, some of the things that have been going on in our industry today that we made some notes on. See, Bob from Indy's on. Okay, Michael. Okay, Michael's got some new stock 36 Dodge stuff, so there's a possibility there. Somebody needs some of that. Let's see. Like I said, some of this stuff gets coming in. And trying to keep up with YouTube and Facebook at the same time, I get a little busy. So I apologize for sometimes when I get hung up with some delays trying to keep up with comments. But anyway, industry news that I've been seeing pop up this week. Okay, there we go. There we got an answer on the Daytona 500 from my good friend Mike Shook at Auto Artistry in Russell. They are under a rain delay right now, so that explains that. Yep, there Roger just popped that up on YouTube as well. Thanks, guys, for clarifying that so we know where we're at. Jesse says they are drying the track right now, so maybe they'll get her finished yet tonight. So some of the notes I had tonight about industry news, laws that affect our industry. And the reason that this popped up was some of the stuff going on in Kansas right now. There's been a big debate about antique vehicles in Kansas. This is just a Kansas law that did pass the House, which is great. In Kansas, there's been a lot of debate about whether or not a vehicle is an antique. Under Kansas law, if it's 35 years old or older, it classifies as an antique. Where the issue had been was if they were modified, because the way the law was written, the vehicle had to be completely 100% stock to qualify as an antique and run an antique tag in the state of Kansas. Well, what had happened is KHP and some things like that had gotten to the point where they were getting extremely picky about what was or was not modified. Aftermarket wheels, they would not let you have an antique tag. And you kind of get into a gray area there of, well, a lot of those cars didn't have seatbelts. If you put seatbelts in it, is it modified? Is it no longer an antique? So the last few years, there's been a lot of debate and a lot of discussion in Kansas about that. As far as what, is it an antique vehicle? Well, according to the law, if it's 35 years older, it should be. However, any modifications, there was just so many gray areas there and so many questions that they were trying to get the law rewritten to basically state if it's a vehicle and it's 35 years old or older, it is an antique. That did pass the House this week in Kansas, headed to the Senate now. So hopefully that law that it is just if it's an antique vehicle, it's an antique vehicle. So that's what they're, and it was a pretty strong vote, 114 yay, 9 nay for it. So basically it sailed right through. I did have a pretty good conversation with my local state rep about it a couple of weeks ago, and clarified a bunch of things for her on it. Which was a great conversation because I'm working with her on some other title issues and things like that. So she did have several questions for me about that, it was like Robert just posted up their House Bill 2165. So I went over a bunch of that with her. She did vote in favor to pass it, to where if it's over 35 years, it's an antique. So we're making progress in Kansas on that, and hopefully that passes the Senate, and then there's no more confusion out there as to what is or is not a modified vehicle to the extent of it is not going to be considered an antique. Randy from Michigan just jumped on with us. Thanks for being back, Randy. Something else I noticed that there again, not in my state, but in Minnesota, we saw something that, and actually I saw this on Bank Shift, my buddy Chad Reynolds' website. In Minnesota, they're trying to force everything to have 15% ethanol in it. Obviously, those of us with old vehicles know what ethanol can do to fuel systems on a lot of this stuff. And they are trying to push to have more of it mandated in all fuel. Let's see, we got on YouTube, Jody, they have collector and or antique is the choices in North Dakota. And maybe, and I don't even think we had the option here. It was kind of antique or not. And that's why I think that bill got brought up. But, if they start pushing a lot of that ethanol stuff through, obviously that's rough on fuel systems. It deteriorates, it corrodes, things like that. It's hard on stuff. So they're trying to get that bill stopped in Minnesota to mandate more ethanol in fuel. Our buddy Adam in England, he's picked up some Camaro promo models. Obviously, if you've been hanging out with us, I like promos. So it's always great to see, some of our foreign friends picking up some of the collectability and stuff, collectibles and things like that we like too, because it's all a fun part of the hobby. But obviously the ethanol thing is, kind of a double-edged sword when you're in the old car world. So Kevin asked antique meaning classic, and I'm not sure on that because they were talking, that is a North Dakota law. So that I'm not sure exactly what they meant on the antique versus classic on that. So I just knew knew a little bit more about the Kansas law. And then I did a little reading on this ethanol bill in Minnesota. And the thing about ethanol is not only is it harsh on fuel systems, ethanol doesn't generate as much energy as regular gasoline does. And that's the other big thing with ethanol. It generates about 30% less BTUs than gasoline does. So, for ethanol to actually be as efficient and as effective as regular gasoline, it would have to be priced at 30% less because of the less energy that it creates. And obviously it's not. And even to keep it competitive, it's subsidies that pretty much keep it competitive. So any of my Pitt State buddies on there know where that came from because Ken Gordon Fuels and Lubes class. But so that's where I learned that at. But, it does not generate as much energy. It is harder on fuel systems. So another interesting bill that I saw that, definitely could affect some of our friends in Minnesota. Let's see. Oh, there is another swap meet and car show, June 16th through the 20th. Demas threw this up there for us. Petit Jean car show at Petit Jean Mountain State Park in Morrilton, Arkansas. So something else to keep in mind if you're down in that neck of the woods, that the Petit Jean car show and swap meet is still planned as well. Debbie, 15% ethanol requirements will be the death of many internal combustion engines, and there's some truth to that. It's hard on systems. Even Adam in England's chiming in on that one. Yeah, they should mandate it. If you're going to do that, it's a separate pump, and if you want to use it, you can use it. Otherwise, you should have a separate. You can be able to do what you want. So yeah, Brian's chiming in with Illinois has antique and extended antique. That's kind of interesting. And once again, no ethanol is better in his vehicles. Glenn's. I must have touched a nerve with some of the ethanol stuff. Glenn hates corn fuel, does nothing but cause problems. So yeah, I'm not a fan of it. Obviously, like I said, any of my Pitt State buddies that are on here that had Fuels and Lubes with Ken Gordon know what Mr. Gordon's opinion was of it. So, Josh, is World of Wheels and Case still having KC in Omaha? I do not know about Omaha, Josh. I did check on KC. It is still scheduled. It is late. It is like end of March, like 22nd, 23rd of March. So KC World of Wheels is still scheduled, just a little later than normal. So let's see. Thanks for the cab over comment. I've got a couple of them. Not sure which one. Probably the cab over behind me, I assume. I was thinking of my other real cab over trucks at first when that popped up. But yeah, the Mr. Goodrich trucks, I've got a whole collection of those, several of them new in the box as well. My buddy Robert, GM and Ford total electric by 2035. I'm not sure. I don't remember seeing anything about Ford. Obviously, I know GM has committed to being total electric. I did not remember seeing anything about Ford at this point, Robert. And then I did, and actually that's going to lead a little bit into my next topic of industry news, which we'll go ahead and roll into right now, is Stalantis. I did read a little bit on Stalantis about what their futures are. And if you guys haven't been keeping up, Stalantis is the new company that was formed by the mergers of Peugeot and FCA. So Peugeot, Fiat, and Chrysler is now Stalantis. They have 14 total brands worldwide, and so we'll kind of roll into that now. I kind of hit the points that I wanted to catch on the ethanol thing, and obviously it was a pretty popular topic, and except it was all the same. Everybody had the same opinion of it. But we'll go ahead and roll into the Stalantis because they put out a few press releases this week as far as what their plans are, which was a big thing, especially when we talk about everybody, GM wanting to go all electric and possibly Ford, from what Robert said. No, a good point, Adam, that I didn't think of. Ford has invested in Rivian. And Ford is a very big investor in Rivian. I forgot that, Adam. I did read that. That's a great point, that they do own a big chunk of Rivian. So that will be very interesting to see how that plays out as well. In Bryan State, extended antique plates allow us unlimited driving from April through October. Antique plates only allow driving to a function only. So that's kind of interesting as well in that state. But with the Stellantis stuff, they have committed to both Chrysler and Dodge. Obviously, Jeep is kind of a no-brainer. That's one of their home runs. But they have committed to sticking around with Chrysler. They have stated that Chrysler needs direction. Possibly as kind of a technology leader type brand, and maybe that's where we're going to see some of the electric stuff show up with Stellantis. Not sure. Obviously, this deal is only a month old, so this news is just starting to trickle out. Robert just chimed in that SRT is disbanded, and I did read some of that. It doesn't, but when I read what their plans are for Dodge, it sounds like they're going to disband SRT, but not get rid of the concept by any means. They do look at Dodge as their performance brand. They want it to be their performance brand. The new CEO Tavares of Stellantis, I guess from the little bit I read, I didn't do a deep dive on him, but it did say he was a racer and was committed to motorsports as long as it continues to do what they want it to do as far as a brand builder and good marketing tool. That they are committed to performance and racing. But a lot of that, like I said, as long as it continues to be successful for them, they are, and they do plan on using Dodge as part of that format. So even though the quote unquote SRT team is disbanded, hopefully that means it's just going to roll back into normal production, but they're still going to do a lot of the cool stuff like they've been doing. And I really, when we talk about what GM's doing with their commitment to all electric, Ford, are they going to go to commitment or going to go all electric? Their investment in Rivian. And then you got Dodge, and I love the memes with Dodge. It's like, the Ford and GM are rebranding, going electric, and Dodge is trying to figure out what else they can stuff a Hellcat motor in. So I guess when you're enthusiasts like us, you got to like that type of attitude too. So, but it's going to be interesting. Lots of things shaking up, lots of things changing. Couple comments popping up. Yeah, like Ralph says, soon if you're going to build a hot rod, you need bigger batteries and heavier wires. That could be true. Hopefully not. I don't think the internal combustion engine is going anywhere permanently anytime soon, but you never know. My buddy Bill, Ford Broncos are going to be built in Africa. I had not read that. Scott looked up World of Wheels. Omaha is March 12th through the 14th. So Omaha will be right before Kansas City on World of Wheels, and really excited to hopefully get to go to that. We've been going to World of Wheels Kansas City for the last several years, and so hopefully we can they're going to pull that off yet this year. So okay, I don't know if we've got Jason on with us tonight. I haven't seen him chime in. If we've got Jason on and has an OTR report tonight, if you want to throw that up there, we will sure let everybody know about what you may or may not have seen out on the road. Let's see what else we got going on. Couple of kind of cool things. If you notice the pictures that I posted, I had kind of some neat stuff. I've got one hanging right here behind me, keychain type piece. It's got Nobody's Show on it. We had the coasters. I don't know if you've seen these. I posted pictures of this stuff. Wanted to show all this stuff to you guys tonight. My good friend Tom Bohr, he makes all this stuff at TB Signs and Designs. You can check him out on Facebook. He just kind of put this stuff together for me and said, hey, check this out. I was like, that's pretty cool. I was pretty excited about that. And he does a lot of cool stuff. He can do, it's all like laser engraving, and it's all CNC computer programmed. He can do wood. He can do like tiles, ceramics, acrylics, all kinds of cool stuff. So he made us some cool stuff tonight. With all the talk, Douglas, with all the talk of electric and rising fuel costs, here's hoping somebody can make a better wood gas setup. That'd be kind of interesting as well. So, okay. So Tom does a lot of cool stuff, and he made this stuff for me, and I was really excited about it. And he made a piece that we're going to give away for trivia tonight. So tonight's winner's not going to get an oil can, but we're going to give away a piece that Tom made for us that's going to be kind of cool and kind of different. So is the auto business making me independently wealthy? Well, not that I know of, but hopefully someday. Hopefully someday that's where we're going, but not as of yet. But it's really cool. I've known Tom for a long time. He helped my buddy Mike Newkirk with his funny car for years, so I've known Tom for a long time, and he does some really, really cool stuff. So you might check him out on Facebook at TB Signs and Designs and check out what he's got going on. And he can make all this stuff. You can email him a picture of your dog, and he can put it in to his program and cut it into acrylic or a tile or whatever. It's pretty cool. So, he makes a lot of cool stuff. He can ship anything to you need. So be sure to check him out for, he's helping us out and then hanging out with us. So definitely want to, support him and check out the super cool stuff he does. Cause man, he makes a lot of neat stuff when you look at his Facebook page and the cool stuff that he's cranking out. Glenn's so against the ethanol stuff. He's going to go completely old school and still run points. He won't even run electronic ignition. Just to make a point. So, but anyway, I wanted to throw that stuff in about Tom, the cool stuff he made. Be sure to check him out, and we'll get to the winner's going to get one of these, and this does change colors. If you've been noticing behind me, it lights up, it changes colors. Neat piece. He made an extra one, so we can give that one away tonight on trivia. So we'll get to that shortly. But now let's get into our magazine for tonight. Going to move up a few years. We've been doing some stuff from the 50s, and I want to keep this magazine stuff diverse. I want to get up even into the 70s and maybe into the 80s and some of this stuff. There's so much cool stuff to check, and I've got, like I said, hundreds and hundreds of car magazines. So we're gonna move up a few years into the 60s. If I had Jay Leno or any other celebrities buy anything, I've never dealt with Jay Leno on anything. I don't know that I've had anybody super famous buy anything from me, or, a lot of times those guys have their cars built by shops and stuff like that. So you may not necessarily deal with them directly on a lot of that stuff. So nothing really that I know of right off the top of my head that really stands out. So let's see. Okay, looks like we're caught up. I'm not getting anything on YouTube here recently, and Facebook's kind of been bouncing on a few comments. So, okay, well, there we popped up. Adam's got to sign off in England because it's 1:27 in the morning there. Well, and I'm just glad you made it for part of it, Adam. It's cool that you jump on, you stay up and jump on with us for at least part of the chat, and really glad you do. So thanks for being here from England tonight. And I think we've got one from London on Facebook as well. So really excited that you guys actually stay up to hang out with us. That's pretty cool. So anyway, the magazine tonight is going to be the February of 1965 Motor Trend. No 40 Chevy pickups. Nothing right now. Nothing's come in recently, Larry, on that. But the February of 1965 Motor Trend is where they named the Car of the Year. In 1965, they gave Car of the Year to the entire line of Pontiac, as well evidenced by the cover. All Pontiacs, Grand Prix, Bonneville, GTO. And, just like all these magazines, it makes getting set up for Sunday Night Chat tough because there's so much cool stuff in them. I end up looking through most of the magazine. Before I know it, I've killed an extra hour on top of the time that I spend getting ready for this. So really cool. Holy cow, I don't know where Jack's at, but it's negative 17 there. So I'm glad I'm not there. That's what makes my -2 look decent. What's the oldest vehicle that I've got? I've got some stuff back in the 20s. I don't know if I've got anything that would actually go clear back into the teens that's kind of somewhat still intact. Most of that stuff you get back that early where it was wood frame. As the wood rots out, the vehicles just basically fall apart around the frame. But definitely got stuff well back into the 20s, Lance. So let's take a look at the February 65 issue of Motor Trend. That's right, Dan. Don't need famous people. I got all you guys on here, and that's 100% true. You guys are what makes this fun, and you guys are what makes this great. So, but one thing about it, when they gave Pontiac Car of the Year in 65, they basically gave them the whole magazine. I kind of flipped through this, and this issue was like 108 pages, and like 43 of them were Pontiac's Car of the Year. So, oh, that's true. Scott did remind me of another one. Ray Evernham did buy a 36 Chevy Coupe body from me. I actually kind of forgot about that, Scott. I'm glad you brought that up. Gosh, that was 12, 14 years ago. Ray Evernham was doing a lot of building old dirt cars, and he did buy a 36 Chevy Coupe body for me to make a dirt car out of. So great point, Scott. I'm glad you remember that because I kind of spaced that off. Glenn says he's got no problems running carbs and points. He understands that stuff. -14 in South Dakota. I don't like it here at 0 or -2. So you guys can definitely keep that. But as we get into the Motor Trend, obviously to start off with, it starts off with the Car of the Year award to Pontiac. And then it just rolls from there. And obviously, there's obviously the 65 GTO, iconic car, always has been, always will be an iconic car. And it goes through most models of Pontiacs through here, the Grand Prix, and gives details and specs on pretty much all of them as we go through here. A few things we want to point out. Obviously, there's no way we can go through 43 pages of Pontiacs, but couple things I want to point out. One of my all-time favorite cars ever is a 65 Pontiac. And, a lot of people would naturally think it would be a GTO, but it's not. Obviously, the 65 GTO, phenomenal car. Kurdistan. Not sure where Kurdistan is, but they're on with us, so thanks for being here. Appreciate that. Let's see. Okay, I think that's caught up. They were kind of popping up there. Anyway, but one of my favorite cars of all time, 1965 Pontiac, but not a GTO. But this is it. I've always loved these cars. The 1965 2+2, by far one of my favorite cars ever. I had a convertible one time I always wanted to do something with, never did get to it. And the car ended up going to Sweden eventually. But the full-size 2+2 on the Catalina body, 421s, always one of my all-time favorite cars. And that's why this issue stood out to me, in fact, being all 65 Pontiacs. Let's see. Kind of a long comment here. Bear with me a second. Debbie's on with us about electric cars making engine noises. She said they were at a car show and they started making them just put a cup in his hands over his mouth and started making them that way. So, but anyway, so much cool stuff in here. If you're a Pontiac fan, this is definitely an issue worth picking up. And not only does it cover the cars, but it covers the specs. It covers a whole bunch of stuff. Kevin had a 64 Star Chief. Oh, my buddy Robert, there was one in Pittsburgh. Actually, Robert, that was a 66. I did not buy that whole car, but I stripped basically everything off of it. There was a 66 2+2 in that yard. But like I said, the car was really, really bad, but I stripped it hard and got about anything good that was left on it. But as you go through the 65 Pontiac stuff, and like I said, I won't try to spend too much time on this because if you're not a Pontiac guy, it's not near as cool. But, it gives prices of the Pontiac engines and major accessories. But not only that, is that, like right here, the next article on the other page talks about their design team. So it talks about all different things Pontiac, starting off with design, show some really cool pictures in the design lab and things that were happening with Pontiac at that time. There's a really cool picture. It shows the development from models to production. Has a whole section on their engineering division. And even their marketing, their dealer body. And obviously, anybody who is familiar at all with Pontiac knows in the 60s, Pontiac's marketing was pretty much second to none, to the point where they got in a lot of trouble for some of it. Obviously, Jim Wanger's, huge push behind a lot of that. And, and their marketing was just beyond crazy with what they did with, the GTO Tiger and everything like that, even to the point where they, I think it was in 68, they got in a bunch of trouble for putting up a billboard in the middle of Detroit. And obviously anybody that has studied Detroit in the muscle car era knows that Woodward Avenue was a hotbed for racing, and not only racing stoplight wars, but the engineers took a lot of cars out there and tested them. And Pontiac put a billboard up on Woodward Avenue that said, I believe it said to Detroit with love, I think, with a picture of a GTO, and got in all kinds of trouble for, in promoting or inciting street racing and things like that. But, hey, we're still talking about it 50 some years later. So apparently it was a pretty good billboard. And like my buddy Robert chimed in, yeah, DeLorean was obviously a big part of that, which kind of leads right into the next section of the Motor Trend article. Pontiac's chiefs, talks about a lot of their executives, things like that, the guys that are calling the shots on a lot of that. So really, not just the cars, but the car of the year articles this in 65 covered the whole gamut of Pontiac about what got them there. So that was what's so cool about it. Yeah, like Dan says, so much styling back in the day, and that's 100% right. And that's what, that's why as we look at the front of the magazine, it's the car of the year. And 65 was a great year for Pontiac. Styling, performance, I mean, just a little bit of everything. And that's obviously why they were awarded the car of the year. So super cool, tons of information in there. And like I said, if you're a Pontiac fan, definitely a copy of Motor Trend that's worth having in your own personal library. Let's see. Ads. As always, we definitely want to check out a few ads in all these magazines because there's so much cool stuff in there. So let's start over at the front and go through and check out a few of the advertisements in the February 1965 issue of Motor Trend. And here's a pretty iconic one right here for Hurst wheels. Obviously, 65 GTO, but great ad, great picture, and obviously Hurst, a name that to this day is synonymous with performance products. And we're looking at some of their marketing from the mid 60s is really cool. And obviously the GTO doesn't hurt matters any at all wearing a set of Hurst wheels. And the next one that we were going to bring up, here's one that's kind of cool. I didn't even have this noted down. I was going to, and even though it's not car related, who remembers the album clubs or the cassette clubs? Well, they had them back in the 60s as well, where you could order any albums for, how many did you get? 9 of them for $4.95. So it definitely not a new thing if you remember some of that stuff. So wanted to show you that too while we were going. And I guess since they had almost half of the magazine given to them with the Car of the Year award, I guess Pontiac did decide to buy one ad, and it's a great ad. They did a great job with the ad. It is the iconic GTO in a big, nice 2-page full-color ad of a blue GTO hardtop. Stunning looking car, great ad. And I guess they just as well throw something in there since they already had most of the magazine wrapped up anyway. Let's see. Chris says 65 was the best sales year since 1955 for Pontiac. So something I wasn't aware of. Steve saw the Willys fenders. Yeah, the Willys fenders and front clip. Yeah, that's where my good cars are stashed, in that building actually. So there is some of my other toys are in there. I did post that when I sold my Willys pickup last year. I've still got all the fiberglass stuff left. So, anybody needs some really nice fiberglass front clip for a Willys, I've got one. It is 4-piece and it is nice, good, heavy quality fiberglass. So not as good as steel, but at least it's decent stuff. It's not real flimsy and floppy. Yeah. Yep. That's exactly right. Columbia House Records. Gary remembers them. Let's see. North Carolina jumped on with us. Thanks for being here, North Carolina. What other ads do we got to check out? Oh, as always, seems like they're in every one. Since we moved up a few years, we thought we would check this one out as well. Obviously, this probably the name synonymous with ordering aftermarket parts back in the 50s and 60s, the J.C. Whitney Company. So obviously we are moving up a few years from the late 50s stuff we looked at the last couple of weeks. So let's see what J.C. Whitney had available in the 60s for some of this stuff. Here's their ad from 1965. They had like spinner type wheel covers you could get, different pedals with decorator pedal assemblies. Over here, you could order Mustang emblems. Obviously, they didn't have Mustang emblems available in the 50s since that didn't come out till 64. But, there again, they're still in there. J.C. Whitney synonymous with performance and aftermarket accessories from back in the day. So they were such a household name, obviously, for that. They're in all these magazines. I always kind of like to, as we cover the different years, what they've got going on when they do it. Robert said 65 was the best sales year for the whole industry since 55. Okay, there we go. That clarifies that a little bit. Not just Pontiac. So let's see. Terry says he bought a lot of 8-tracks and albums from Columbia House. It's kind of funny how we can show one little old magazine ad from 50 some years ago and get that those many comments right out of the gate. The Diamond T COE, that sounds interesting, Stephen. Yeah, you can give me a shout on that. Our buddy Matty, 66 GTO was the highest production number, and he ought to know because Matty's got a 66 convertible he's had for a really, really long time. Great looking car too. So something else that stands out in this, even though it is a 1965 issue, the annoying cards that they stick in the middle to pull out, they had them back then. So nothing new there when we get them today and have to pull them out and throw them away or use them for a bookmark. So okay, what other kind of couple other cool ads to look at in this issue before we wrap this wrap up with the copy of Motor Trend from February of 65. That's right, my buddy BJ. The chrome foot for the dimmer switch and the gas pedal, things like that. Those were also great accessories as well. Oh, and Ralph chimed in. You could actually order complete conversion kit from, I assume, J.C. Whitney to swap sticks in your car. So they probably had conversion kits for clutch linkage and shifter linkage, I'm betting, for a lot of vehicles as well. Something we'll have to keep our eyes peeled for as we go through these old ads in the future. But that'd be kind of cool, too, to see what they had listed for that. Oh, and Chris on YouTube chimed in the same thing, just like Robert did. 65 was the best sales year for the entire industry since 55. So Chris clarified his own comment on that as well. I just hadn't got back to that screen yet. So as we get closer to the back of the issue of Motor Trend, this was a really great ad that I thought was super cool from Carroll Shelby Enterprises. You can order your own Cobra racing accessories, T-shirts, patches, jackets, and of course, I'm sure at the time this was pretty good money for a lot of this stuff. You know, when the toolkit's $5, T-shirts were $1.50, posters were $1. And that sounds like, wow, that's nothing. But you got to remember back then, I think most people were making about $1 an hour, especially if it was a part-time job. If it was a younger guy at a part-time job, I don't think you were making much more than $1.25 an hour. So just cool to see, Carroll Shelby Enterprises selling their merch in 65, because that's when, they were really starting to gain some ground. The Cobras have been out for a few years. They were just starting on the Mustangs. In fact, February of 65, I'd have to go back through some of my notes, but that was right around when, they would have been starting to get the GT350Rs done. I don't remember, we did some really great videos on Car 5R002, the GT350R prototype. If you've not seen those videos, be sure to go to YouTube and check those out, where my buddy Jim Wicks gives us a really in-depth, detailed walk around of that car the day before it sold, 1 or 2 days before it sold for $3.5 million. So when we think of what Shelby is today, and we think back as to what Shelby was in February of 65, two whole different things. So, but still, there again, that's what's cool to look back today and look back at this time and see what it really was at that time happening. Because there really wasn't any Shelby Mustangs yet. They'd been making Cobras for 2 or 3 years, had some success. The Daytona Coupes had 5. The Shelby Mustang was brand new. So when you think back and you put it into perspective of that, definitely kind of weird. Classic Ride Society just jumped on with us in Texas. Glad they made it. And it's snowing in Dallas as well. Wow. So let's see. Oh, our friend Kevin just chimed in. They have announced that the Daytona 500 is to resume at 8 o'clock Central Time, so 9 o'clock Eastern. They do plan on resuming the Daytona 500 and trying to get that in yet tonight. So, but there again, and like I said, it's cool to look back and think of where Shelby was in February 65 and look at the ads that they were putting out, and then look at where they are today and what it turned into. So kind of cool there. Let's see. Steven. Okay, I'll look, Steven, after we get done and see what you sent me on that on a text. Steven said he sent me something, so I'll double check that after I get done. Okay, here we go. Jim started his apprenticeship in December of '64, and I believe Jim's our friend in Michigan who actually worked for GM, and he started at $2.55 an hour. So if you were going to order a Cobra toolkit for $5, you had to work for 2 hours just to order the toolkit. So, yeah, that kind of puts it into perspective there as well. I'll check my text, Stephen, to see if I can see what you sent me. Like we always talk about, texts are are typically not real clear. So I'll see if I can figure it done to make sure we're on the same page on whatever you sent me on that. Terry's screen keeps freezing, but comments keep popping up. So I'm sure we do have some connection issues in different parts of the country. Obviously, everybody's fighting this weather. I did just get a notification on YouTube that we had a connection issue, but then it cleared itself right up. So I hope that isn't anything that is affecting you guys too well. That is correct, Classic Ride Society. We did cover that last week, that the Sunflower Swap Meet in Wichita has been canceled. They could not get a definitive answer out of Century 2, which is the facility where they hold it, as to whether or not what their rules and regulations were going to be. Is it going to be anybody can come in with masks? They couldn't get an answer, and there was no point in having everybody come to Wichita and set up to find out you're only going to be allowed to have 200 people in the whole building or something. So they did cancel that. David from Montreal, glad that you're on with us. We've got Canada on. Always wanted a Corvette, wondering if 5 or 6 year old Corvette are very expensive to maintain. I don't have much experience with a later model Corvette, David, but a lot of that stuff, I don't think there's much to them at all. If you don't want to modify it and just want to drive her, I think they're pretty simple to maintain. From what I've seen, or a Mustang more reliable. I think any of that later model stuff, there's not really any of it that's bad. I mean, any of it's pretty good. And if you don't modify them, a lot of that stuff is pretty dependable and pretty easy to maintain in the stock situation as they were built. Dan said he used to make $1.50 to $2 to do lawns. So that kind of puts it into perspective there. Okay, Stephen. Okay, you sent me a text about that truck. Okay. The sign in the background. We'll get to that in a second here, Glenn. We talked about it right out of the gate. We'll catch it here again. Auto Fair has been called in North Carolina. So if you're in the Carolinas, Doug said Auto Fair has been called. So I assume they're canceling that one as well. But something that we're definitely, hopefully not going to have to fight much longer. But yeah, Glenn, the sign there is it's a can rack topper with all the different Sinclair dyno motor oils on it. Single-sided tin, painted, great sign. Really super excited about that. A friend of mine who's another antique dealer, he stumbled across it, and he saved it for me, fortunately. Him and I get along pretty well, so when he finds something like that, he does save it for me, and he treats me pretty fair on it. He'll mark it up a little because I know he's got to make something, but he treats me really fair on it, and he saves that stuff for me. So always appreciate Ron keeping an eye out for me on that. Was really, really excited about that Sinclair piece. Corvair ramp side pickups, nothing at all, Lance. Nothing at all on Corvair ramp side pickups right now. Let's see. I think that catches us up for now. Let's see. One more ad I wanted to catch. Then we'll catch a couple of classified ads in this issue. Once again, we are in the February 65 Motor Trend. Classic Ride Society. He was apparently planning on the Charlotte Auto Fair as well. So it's apparently been canceled as well. Champion had a great ad. Champion spark plugs, 2-pager, airplanes, land speed, road course, drag cars, all kinds of cool stuff. Champion's powered plugs on that ad. One more I want. Any Scouts? Zach, I've got one 79 Scout 2. That's a pretty solid tub. Not complete, but a pretty good body. Scott. Okay, Scott out in Western Kansas, Scott Andrews, he does have a Corvair pickup. So you can look him up on the on that Corvair pickup. Let's see. This is a pretty cool ad. David, any international D2s? I've got about half a dozen D-Series international trucks in stock, Dennis, depending on what you needed. You can give me a shout on that and give me a list. I'll see if I can help you out with any of that. David, any idea what a 69 Stingray is worth? That was modified, and there's just no way to know without looking at it, seeing what was modified, what was changed, and what condition the car is in. Obviously, a 69 Corvette's going to have some value, but it depends on how modified, what was done to it, things like that. So that's a pretty open-ended question without having some more details about that. But the last ad I wanted to look at, and there again, when we think about today, you can order them anywhere. You can order them online. You can go anywhere and order tire and wheel packages. Our buddy Avin from California just jumped on with us. Thanks for being here. But in the mid-'60s, actual aftermarket wheels were a pretty big deal. Like we talked about a couple weeks ago in one of our other magazine articles about modifying hubcaps for your own look. Customag now has the first new sports wheel with the quality difference you can see. So, there again, it's something different. Today we think about ordering aftermarket tires and wheels as basically almost a normal thing. Back in the mid-'60s, it was a pretty different deal. There really wasn't much to get. Customag had them. Obviously, Hurst was coming out with their own line of wheels. But aftermarket wheels, there was not a lot of them out there to get. So that's why that ad kind of stood out as well. A couple of classified ads we'll catch out of this issue, and then we will jump on to the next thing tonight. But as always, it's always fun to check out a couple of the classified ads and see what was available and what was for sale. Couple of ones that stood out tonight. 1936 Pierce Arrow. Obviously a pretty unique car. Brougham with dual side mounts, complete, original, including chrome, paint, and upholstery. Beautiful car, $1,600. Kind of crazy to think about in today's world that you could buy a complete, nice, clean, original 36 Pierce Arrow for $1,600. But there again, just like we talked about, when you're making a couple bucks an hour, $1,600 is a ton of money. One other ad that stood out tonight, 1936 Ford Coupe, all original except headlights, new battery, fuel pump, good rubber, dark green, very good condition. He's firm on his price at $500. So, but there again, when you're making a couple bucks an hour, $500 was a lot of money. It's just when we look at it in today's world and today's dollars, it's kind of crazy. And while we're on the back page, let's check out this last ad because it is a really cool ad too, even though I didn't have it noted. The 65 Cutlass 442 convertible, great ad, not full color, just had the orange background to it, but a really cool ad advertising the new for then 442, which once again, 442 to us is a very common term. We all know what a 442 is. In 65, it was a new deal. Most people didn't even know what a 442 was or even made it. So when you put it all into perspective, it's pretty cool. So as Ralph said, in the 60s, you really had to search for wheels. Today you can go to eBay and you even just type in your vehicle and you have 3 pages of aftermarket wheel options pop up. Even if you're not looking for wheels, they pop up. So Dan said he'll take it. I don't know if he wanted the Pierce Arrow or the Ford, but I don't care. I take either one of them at those kind of prices. But anyway, that's what we had for tonight for the magazine of the week. I hope you guys enjoyed it. And like I said, if you're a Pontiac nut, definitely one worth picking up. I'm sure they're out there. These old magazines don't break the bank. They're a great addition to your collection, and they're really cool to look at. Just like I said, perspective. We put this stuff into perspective of what it was compared to what we know it as today. Whole different thing, whole different animal. So anyway, and if you're on Facebook, if you want to throw a share out there to get your friends on with us, we still got a little bit of stuff to talk about tonight. Throw us go ahead and throw a share out there, and maybe get some of your friends on with us, start hanging out with us too if you're having fun. Dan just did both. He'll take the Ford and the Pierce Arrow. That just make it easy. A little bit of a format change, I think, on what I'm doing. The lives when I do Toy Tuesday and things like that, YouTube has been gaining a lot of traction, and I think I'm going to start doing some more of the live stuff on YouTube. I'll go ahead and put a notification on Facebook on both pages, on the Nobody Show page and the Nobody Else's Auto page. But with the traction that YouTube is starting to gain, when I do the lives on Facebook and then transfer them over, I'm getting a lot of comments about, they missed the stream and things like that. So when we're here at my desk, it's no problem whatsoever. I've got 3 computers set up, 2 webcams. When I'm sitting here, I can run both of them real easy, no problem. When I'm doing the lives, like when I do Toy Tuesday out in the shop and we have some cool stuff kind of laid out and I'm running off my phone, obviously I can't do both formats at the same time. So I think I will probably start going more to YouTube on those lives and put the notifications on Facebook, both pages, so make sure everybody aware and remind them to jump on with us. So, yeah. Yeah, Doug must have just jumped on. What's the weather here? It was -2 when I came in here, and I'm actually been compared to some of the other reports that we've been getting tonight on here. I'm warm compared to some of these guys up in the Dakotas and stuff where it was like -17. So, yeah, Classic Ride Society went in and double checked that the Charlotte Auto Fair has been canceled, just like we had the other comment on Facebook. So. Another one that bit the dust this year because of the situation. And like I said, hopefully we'll be through this stuff sooner rather than later. And we're still going to get back out to doing some cool stuff. I know I want to get back out there. I want to get to some more car shows. I want to get to some more salvage yards. I want to get out and see some more friends and bring you some more cool videos because there's so much cool stuff out there to see. And a lot of stuff I want to go check out. If you guys, speaking of the Willys, actually, since we talked about the extra front clip I've got, any of you guys remember the Willys pickup that I had last year? And all steel, completely all total original steel, 1941 Willys pickup. A couple weeks ago, I got a few pictures of that truck, and it is awesome. I hated to sell it. Absolutely hated to sell that truck. It was such a great piece. After I've seen a few pictures of what he's doing with it, it definitely went to the right guy. Super excited about it. I'd love to go do a video on that. So want to get out on the road, start doing some more cool stuff and bring you guys some cool stuff. Excuse me. I read that wrong. Classic Ride Society. It said their website says it has not been canceled as far as Spring Charlotte Auto Fair. So I misread that. You said hasn't, not has. That was my fault. Trying to keep up with 2 screens at the same time. The Charlotte Auto Fair website says it has not been canceled. So that's what they're showing as of right now. Kevin, when was the first Motor Trend? I'm not sure. We had a comment a little earlier from somebody who said they had Motor Trend back into the 30s in their collection. So, and I'm sure that's right. I'm sure they did go back into the 30s. I don't know exactly when they went into publication. But 30s definitely sounds very reasonable, and maybe even earlier than that. As far as when they actually went into print, because by the turn of the century they were starting to build cars, and by the 20s, obviously a lot of people were into full production. Even to the teens, there were hundreds and hundreds of manufacturers at the time, but I could have seen it at any point, coming out somewhere around then. So. Anyway, stay tuned for more lives on YouTube, and I will be sure to get the notifications out on Facebook. What we're doing here on Sunday nights will not change because, like I said, I can set up 2 computers, 2 cameras, and I've got a 3rd computer up in case I needed to look something up for research. So we're in pretty good shape here. Just when I'm running off my phone, like on Toy Tuesday and things like that, probably going to start shifting more of that to YouTube and keep the notifications. I'll definitely keep the notifications up on Facebook so you guys are all aware. And remind you to jump on over to YouTube for those lives. And then I will try to go back and post them on Facebook on the Nobody Show page after that. So thanks, Ralph. Appreciate the kind words. Like I said, it's a great show because of you guys, not because of me. It's great because of you guys and your feedback and your participation. Enrique says September of 49 is what the internet says. And that could be true, but I would have thought it would have been prior to that, but that might be right. You know, maybe it was September of 49 because I haven't looked it up, but that could definitely be it. So anyway, who's ready for some trivia? As always, I will keep an eye on both formats for our trivia winner tonight. And like I said, I'm going to take the first one that I see, which tonight with the weather issues we're having all the way across the country, that may be, a little bit of a challenge, but all I can go with is what the system feeds me. So I apologize when we have some confusion or, several right answers that kind of plug up, and I go with what I get first. So I'm trying to keep warm, Enrique. Yeah, the weather's definitely been a hot topic tonight. Except it's a hot topic because it's not hot anywhere. Even we had Houston on saying they had ice, and -2 here, -17 in the Dakotas. So tonight's winner is going to get one of these specialty pieces made by our friend Tom Bohr at TB Signs and Designs. We've got it right here, still in its little sleeve. It does light up, does all the various different color changes. And we're going to send this out to the winner tonight. And it does come with its own keychain and lanyard and everything as well. So Tom made this especially for us to give away tonight. It is out of acrylic. It is etched in there. Neat piece. So huge shout out to Tom for that. Be sure to check him out on Facebook. And we got I think it's kind of an easy trivia question tonight. But let's see. Make sure we're caught up on other comments here. It looks like we are. We looked at a Packard earlier this week in a video. Late 40s Packard. What happened to that poor car? And there's kind of different various ways that you can word it. But what happened to that poor old Packard that we looked at earlier this week? See. Yeah, that's right, Enrique. Tom Bohr does some really cool stuff. So be sure to check him out at TV Signs and Designs on the cool stuff they made and the cool stuff they made for me, and actually a piece to share with you guys. And and if you guys want some of those, he said he can make another run of them. They sell for $20 a piece shipped. So if anybody wants some of those, we can always get another batch of those ready. And Chris Carson is our winner on YouTube. They cut right across the middle of the roof of the thing. I don't know if they were trying to split the car in half or what they were trying to do, but they just chopped right across the middle of the car, took the doors off and chopped it. It was like, I don't know what they were thinking, but Chris is our winner tonight. If Chris wants to give me a call after we get done, I'll get this super cool piece that Tom made for us out to you. And like I said, if anybody else wants some, he will make a run of them for us. And there we go. There's more of them coming in now, which is usually what happens. Jason Lance, everybody else is coming in with it. And I don't know if that was a system feed or what, but there again, with the weather tonight, we usually have to deal with that anyway. With the weather tonight, I figured we were going to have some comments that kind of backed up and all started popping up. Anyway. The raffle. We talked about this last week. The mobile regular porcelain pump plate that is on the raffle. Everybody was all excited about the raffle, so we're going to give this away on the 28th. We'll see what we get in for purchases on chances. Single-sided porcelain, original, probably 60 mobile pump plate. Dollar chance. Every dollar you send in gets you that many names that many slips in the oil can with your name on it. So far, Jess is the only one that's in. So if you guys just want me to just give it to Jess, I mean, that's what's going to happen. So, but we still got a couple of weeks, and I'm sure I know a lot of you guys think it's cool and want to get in. So if you send me $1, you get one chance. You send me $10, you get 10 chances. We'll put those all in a big oil can, and we'll draw for them here at the end of the month. You can PayPal me. The email address that is on my PayPal account has been added to both these posts. Just make sure you put a note in there that it's for the Sunday night chat raffle, and either your name or your handle and a phone number so I can at least contact the winner if you're not on with us that night. So yeah, Yeah, Jess is all in favor of no one buying any chances. So Jess just says nobody needs to buy anything. Is she's already got her chances and she will just take it that way. So, but anyway, that also wouldn't help keep the program alive either. With nobody buying chances, it's kind of tough to keep refilling the pot with cool stuff if we're not selling any chances. So be sure to check that out. Like I said, that info is on there. If you Tom wants in, he'll just bring me cash. That's fine. He's local, so Tom can definitely swing by and jump into that. And like I said, huge shout out to Tom for helping us out tonight and the cool stuff that he makes. And definitely want to check that out. And also, I've got my mailing address on there. We did have some questions last week from people who do not have PayPal to who want to just send a check. Same thing. You can throw a check in the mail. My mailing address is on there. Just put a note in there, name, phone number, and the amount for how many chances you want, and we will get those put into the big oil can for the drawing here in a couple of weeks. So. Obviously, with the weather this week, I didn't go haul a lot of stuff, but I did pick up one car. I'm sure you've seen it when I had to post for Toy Tuesday since I wasn't going to be back in time. 1962 Ford Thunderbird. No motor in that car, and the windshield's broke, so I do have to get the interior gutted out of it because it is there, and it's weathered and the material shot, but the chrome and the metal and stuff isn't that bad for considering its age and the fact that when I picked it up, though, actually a buddy of mine picked it up for me. I got it at his house. When he picked it up, the windshield had been covered for the last several years. So it's only been exposed here over the last couple of weeks from him moving it and then me getting it here. So I'll either get it covered back up or get the interior gutted out of it one way or the other. But a lot of good trim on that car. Pretty solid. Everything's inside is there. All the trim is there. Just the motor and trannies out of it is all. So let's see. Dan says it'll make a great birth month present. Well, Jess's birthday isn't until October, so she can't beat that birth month drum for several months yet. So she's going with it anyway, though. She's all over it. Anyway, what I've got coming up this week on videos. Fortunately, we went out and got a bunch of stuff shot about a week ago prior to all this stuff coming in. So I've got some stuff in the can that we already shot. Some stuff around in the new yard and stuff out of my yard. 76 Chevy Malibu, 41 Olds. That's a pretty cool car. 42 Chevy Coupe. Simca, which is kind of a little clown car. I think you'll think if you rub it on the floor, I think it goes. It's a little dinky thing. Shot some stuff over my yard, some G-body stuff, some station wagons and four-doors in G-body. So that's something kind of different on that as well. Hot rod and street truck garage. No early Suburbans and no Blazers in that 68 to 72 era at all. Nothing there at all. Don't even have a ton of pickup stuff in that era. I've got a little bit, but not a ton. So we're not getting any comments on Facebook and haven't in about 5 minutes, which is really, really odd. So I'm wondering if we've got a feed issue on Facebook right now, because that doesn't typically happen. 79 Tasman jumped on with us. He's one of our regulars. Glad you made it tonight. So if you're commenting on Facebook, it literally has not fed me anything in 5 minutes. And when it does that, typically when we get wrapped up and done and I hit refresh, my comment section will go up by about 20 or 30 comments. So we may have a little bit of a hang up there. There we go. Doug just said hi. That came through. So hopefully we've got it is working. Classic Ride Society. Love the G-body wagons. Absolutely. I mean, I love wagons, period, at this point, pretty much. He's got an 80 Monty and a 66 Special wagon. Those are great cars as well. So that's kind of what I've got for tonight, everybody. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Had a great group on tonight. Do you have any year Suburbans? I know there's one or two square body Suburbans, like from the 80s. In fact, I think I've got a diesel one. I think I've got like a mid-80s diesel square body Suburban. That's kind of cool. I think that's, and then you get up into the 90s, I've got some, but no early Suburbans at all. And I think that one square body in the mid 80s is the only thing that's, kind of interesting at this point. 63 to 67 Nova hood hinges, BJ. Don't have anything like that. I have not had time to mess with the hood on that Charger, Terry. Obviously, the way the weather's been around here the last couple of weeks, it definitely has not been very much of anything outside. So, no, I have not messed with that hood on the getting there. Trying to get that hood unlatched on that Charger, Terry. George says it is acting weird on his end. So the comments have started. Wow, there's more of them popping up. So they are coming in like really steady now. So I wonder if we did have a hang up. And George said it is acting weird on his end. And with the weather issues we've got everywhere out there tonight, that doesn't surprise me. But we're still going to we'll keep fighting and do what we can do. So Lance, thanks. He loves the show. That's, like I said, Lance, this is you guys are what makes it. Same thing with Kevin. He had a great time tonight. And that's what it is. It's you guys. It's the interaction and the camaraderie and the friendships that we're making on here is what makes this thing work. It sure isn't me. It's all you guys. That's what's doing it. So, I appreciate you guys coming by. It's great when we have people like our friend Tom to actually make this cool stuff like this. Not only make it to be here, to let it be here, but to make an extra one so we can send it to our winner tonight. So that's what it's about. It's all of us hanging on here, hanging out, having a great time. And that's what makes it fun. It's not about me, that's for sure. It's about all of us, and all of you guys are what make it happen. So anyway, we'll go ahead and start wrapping up. I'll keep an eye on comments here for another minute or two and see what happens there, especially not knowing what's going on with Facebook, since that's, like I said, I get that kind of a lapse. Usually after we get off and I refresh, the comment section adds a whole bunch of comments that weren't there before. But there again, we're kind of at the mercy of the system. So there's not much we can do about it other than try to fight through it. So as always, thanks for being here, everybody. I really appreciate it. Still amazed. We're over a year into this. You guys keep coming back. We hang out. We have a blast. And we're doing a ton of cool stuff. And that's what makes it fun. Dan said, yeah, he had some YouTube issues on his end. And you guys are all thanking me for a great show, and it sure isn't me. It's all of you guys. George loves our dyno sign as well. It's a great sign. I'm glad you guys liked it. Early 80s 98 Coupes, Classic Ride Society, do not have anything there at all right now. The only thing I've got even close is like a 78 four-door, but nothing in the early 80s and nothing in a coupe in that body style for Oldsmobile. Somebody's got to steer. Well, I hope I can keep her on the rails. Then if I'm steering, I hope I keep her on the rails and we have fun doing it. Doug enjoys the show. Thanks a lot, everybody. And it's all of you guys. That's what makes it happen, and that's what makes it work. So as always, stay tuned. More cool videos coming up. Thanks, BJ. Appreciate it. Glad you made it on tonight. Check out the videos we've got coming up. We'll do some Toy Tuesday live. We'll do it live on YouTube this time, and we'll probably start shifting to that. I will put the notifications on Facebook so that everybody's aware that we're going to go live on YouTube on them. And it is just Nobody's Show on YouTube, so you can check that out as well. So anyway, we're going to sign off. I've got to get to work. I've got to get some eBay stuff done yet tonight. Got a long ways to go. Have I ever been to Colorado Springs, Clark? I have, but it's been quite a while. We will be going through Colorado this year on Rocky Mountain Race Week, so be sure to check that out. We run Pueblo and we run Bandamere on Race Week this year. So we'll be leaving Great Bend, heading to Pueblo, Bandamere, Kearney, then back to Great Bend. So we do have that definitely on our schedule for this year. Still trying to find a car for Rocky Mountain Race Week. Still looking for an 01 or 02 Trans Am Ram Air car, or possibly a earlier late model Challenger, a 2010, 2011, 2012 RT or SRT Challenger would be another possibility I'd be interested in for Race Week. So got to get a car lined up, but we've still got a little bit of time for that. But definitely plan on doing that. And if you're anywhere near those areas, definitely check that out. Thanks, Classic Ride Society. Thanks, George. Glad you guys were all here. And we're going to go ahead and sign off so I can get back to work. Thanks a lot, everybody. Appreciate you coming by. Stay tuned for the new videos coming up. As always, If you've got specific questions about vehicles or parts, always give me a call so we can have that short conversation about your project, what direction you're going with it, and what parts you need, as well as all the details about your vehicle to see if I've got anything here that can help you. So thanks for stopping by. Thanks for spending some time with me. Thanks for hanging out with me tonight. Once again, you guys made it an outstanding show, and we had a ton of fun. Can't wait to do it again next Sunday, and hope to see you all back. Thanks for watching, everybody. We'll see you soon on the videos this week, and definitely hope to see you next week on Sunday Night Live Chat.